Welcome, and thanks for listening to Four Things to Know, an open line podcast produced by the City of Auburn. Each week, we'll take a few minutes to walk you through events, street closures, and important dates you should know about as Auburn residents. So this is the public affairs team for the City of Auburn coming to you from Auburn, Alabama. We're going to go ahead and introduce ourselves this week, starting with Allison.
Hey, I'm Allison Blankenship.
I'm Cynthia Williford Bean.
I'm David Dorton.
And I am Nick Bowman. So this week we're going to start off with the fishing rodeo coming up at the Auburn Technology Park South Lake. So this event is hosted by the Auburn Parks and Recreation Department and sponsored by Evans Realty. Registration for the event will begin on Monday, May 2nd at 8 a.m. And I believe you're going to register for that using the new Parks and Rec registration system. All right, good to go there. You can create your account if you're using the new registration system ahead of time. Go ahead and knock that out as soon as possible. And then at 8 a.m. May 2nd, you can register for that specific event. We'll include the link to registration in the show notes. So you can also register at the event. The cost is going to be $5 per child. The first 175 kids will receive a free fishing rod and reel courtesy of Evans Realty. And then Auburn Parks and Rec will supply the bait. So and your kids, when you bring them, each child will be permitted to bring home 5 fish, and of course they must be accompanied by an adult. We'll have some door prizes to give out. It's going to be a good time, so make sure you follow the link in the show notes and register for this great event.
Awesome. Well, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there is construction on Opelika Road. And it is progressing, believe it or not. The next stage of construction is beginning on Wednesday, April 27th, or may have begun by the time this is out. The construction is going to be this phase of the construction is going to be for landscape medians on Opelika Road. And this stage is expected to last about 8 weeks. This will include Opelika Road between Gentry Drive and Sagahatchee Road. It will be reduced to the outside eastbound and outside westbound lanes. So if I'm understanding that right, that means you will be directed into those outside lanes instead of into the inside lanes. The center lane will be closed except for at the entrance and exit to Niffers and the Midtown Auburn development. And there are quite a few businesses around that area that we would encourage you to still patronize. They are open. You can access them. So everybody driving in that area, you should just be careful as you adjust to these changes. And we really appreciate everybody's patience on this. This project has experienced some unexpected delays, but it is getting there, and it's going to be a great final product once it's done, and great for those businesses in that area.
So I guess the practical difference in a way, I mean, we're used to being directed by signs and cones into the open lane that we can travel. And I guess, so the biggest difference now then would be that there's only a couple of places where you can turn left, and the rest is kind of right in, right out during this phase, which really should be the final major phase, I guess.
Yes. I'm glad you mentioned that it is mostly right in, right out for turning. But yeah, I think that's what I understand too, that it's the final stage of this. So hopefully 8 weeks is the magic number.
And hopefully no monsoons between now and then.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome. So as we get ready for CityFest, which is our biggest event of the year coming up this weekend, Parks and Recreation and the Auburn Arts Association are hosting the Juried art show and preview reception this Thursday. The art show will feature a bunch of different works by local and regional artists, and it gives the public a chance to meet with the artist and enjoy some complimentary drinks and hors d'oeuvres. They're also going to be presenting awards during the reception. And so this is just a good way to just engage in the arts in our community. It's free and open to everyone. And again, it'll be this Thursday from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the historic Nunn Winston House, which is at Kiesel Park. And then, of course, join us for CityFest this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Kiesel Park as well. And there will be more than 100 arts and crafts, food, and nonprofit vendors, live music, and activities for all ages. So, again, it's our biggest event of the year, and Parks and Rec always does a great job getting everything together. So, lots of stuff to do this week.
And I think it's going to be good weather.
It looks like it. And
Yeah.
it shouldn't be too hot. It should
I
be
hope not.
nice and cool.
It's going to be great.
Okay. So at last week's council meeting, which, by the way, was the last council meeting at 7 p.m., with council meetings moving to 6 p.m. starting with next week's meeting. But at the last meeting, City Council approved the bid for construction for the new Environmental Services Public Works facility, which will be out on Wire Road. So those two departments will move out there. The recycling facility will move where you go take glass and other recyclables in person, will move across the street. So right now we've got Environmental Services and Recycling and Public Works on the left side of Donahue if you're facing north, and our Fleet Services division on the right side of Donahue. And the recycling center will jump across the street to where our Fleet Services is now. That will pave the way for an expansion of the Boykin Community Center, which potentially will include a branch library, a cultural center, which would have a model Rosenwald school or elements of a historical Rosenwald school, and also parks and recreation amenities. And for folks that have been here a while, I guess this is kind of the third or fourth major municipal facility change since the 90s. We had City Hall move from where the Development Services is now, corner of Ross and Glen, to downtown here on Titchener. In the early 2000s, we had the Auburn Public Library move from that same facility at the corner of Ross and Glen to where it is now at Thatch and Dean, also in the earlier 2000s. Our water resource management facility used to be at the corner of Glen and Donahue and moved out to West Samford. And now this, our Environmental Services and Public Works folks moving from Donahue out to Wire and giving them a better facility and giving Boykin room for expansion there.
I know they're excited because their building now is so small for what staff they have and all the equipment they have. So it's going to be a really great resource for them and for residents to drop things off.
Yeah, it should definitely be better, and residents will still essentially be going to the same place to drop off most recyclables. Yes. I'm actually not sure on right now. You make an appointment to take electronics recyclables like a computer tower or a laptop to them, and I'm not sure how that'll work after the move, if you'll go out Wire Road or how that will work, but I'm sure we'll announce that as we get closer.
Sounds great. Anybody got anything else this week? All right. Thanks.
Go to CityFest.
Go to CityFest. Sign up for the fishing rodeo. We got lots of other stuff going on. Thanks for listening this week. We will be back again next week. Thanks for listening to Four Things to Know, an open line podcast produced by the City of Auburn. If you're looking for more news, events, and dates to know about coming up in Auburn, visit news.auburnalabama.org. You can also check out our show notes for the links and URLs discussed in this episode.